Hello and welcome back to Boxing Social in association with Betfred. My name is Ayman Khan. We're here in London, Hard Rock Hotel. It's a pleasure to be in the company of the one and only Gerry Cooney. Gerry, first of all, how's life treating you?
You know what? I'm feeling great. It's great to be here in London. I'm here with Scott Murray, and what a job he's doing, keeping boxing alive and bringing great fighters to London and to Ireland, to all over the place, and letting the fans sit one-on-one with the guys, and how do you beat that? So I'm grateful to be here with him. I was here 3 years ago, and I love every bit of it. And I am doing terrific. I'm with Larry Holmes again. We have a nice life together. We're not fighting anymore most of the time. Now we just squabble once in a while. But we had great memories. And, you know, that was I got stopped in the 13th round. That was the toughest fight and the best fight I've ever had. I'm so grateful for that fight because that made me legitimate in the heavyweight division.
I was speaking to Larry and doing my research on this fight 40 years back. A lot was said about kind of the racial tones around the time about the fight. And what was it like for yourself, for Larry, if you got the feeling from him about being in amongst that heat that was coming from outside of the ring and not from kind of how it was yourselves?
Well, both of us didn't know it at the time.
Yeah.
We thought I thought it was him. He probably thought it was me, right? But it wasn't. And listen, fortunately for me, I had 6 guys I grew up with in high school. And we were hanging out in Palm Springs, training, eating lobster tail and Brussels sprouts. And we had a great time. I was training, running in the mountains in the salt, in the quiet air. And it was the greatest time in the world. So I wasn't affected by it. We didn't talk about that. We were living the life. When were we ever going to get an opportunity to be in this place, fighting for the heavyweight championship of the world? And I wanted my friends to come with me, to feel it documented and to experience what I was going through.
Boxing sometimes generates some sad stories, but this is a good one in the sense of the friendship that both you and Larry have from coming out in the aftermath of the fight, 40 years on, doing these type of tours and speeches. It's a testament to what can come from boxing, where sometimes it isn't great, but in this instance, the story is beautiful.
Well, yeah, I mean, I lost. I felt bad. I got to tell you the truth, I didn't want to lose. I didn't go into that fight thinking I was going to lose, but he was a great champion, and I learned so much in that fight that had we fought again, maybe it could have been different the second time. I don't know, but I felt the experience like a coat over me. And unfortunately, we never fought again. I don't know why. Had I had the chance, I would have went back into training right away and been ready. But anyway, that being said, it's 40 years later, 41 years, June 11th, it's going to be 41 years, and we travel, we close, we laugh, we joke, and we talk about the fight game. You know, I'm on Sirius XM. It's a great radio platform, and we talk boxing Mondays and Fridays from 12 to 2 on Sirius XM. And so I'm still in the game. I'm watching it, and it's so exciting. And I'm talking about the featherweights, the junior welterweights, the welterweights, the middleweights. It's unbelievable how much talent there is. Not only that, but last couple of weeks we saw Katie Taylor fight Amanda Serrano in the main event in the Garden, sold out, and it paid. It's a super fight. I thought of Ali Frazier. And I'm telling you the truth. When I watched that fight, that's how good it was. Katie Taylor fought back at the end. She got banged up. She was hurt a little bit. And she fought back and won the title. So very exciting.
Gerry, just a quick couple of thoughts before we move on to getting your thoughts around the scene at the moment. Larry's jab was considered as something as one of the best, if not the best jab that's ever graced the ring. You're the man who felt that jab firsthand. Tell me, how good was it? And is there anyone currently that compares to have a jab anywhere close to what Larry had?
Well, no, I mean, obviously he was always in your face with it. I mean, I felt like I blocked most of it. I got hit with some of them, obviously, but I was blocking it pretty well. And I didn't have a bad jab. I was a converted southpaw. So I was a left-handed guy fighting right-handed. So every time I jabbed, it was like getting hit with the straight right hand. So I had a pretty good right hand as well. But experience was the thing. And he was patient. He knew when to throw it. He watched me and answered. Watch, answer. And that was a difficult thing at that kind of level, at this young kid from Long Island, who didn't have much experience, had a lot of knockouts going into the fight, but I really needed to go 10 rounds, 3 or 4 or 5 times before we fought. I would have had much more understanding about the game and what to do.
Let me get your thoughts then on a bit of the current game. Let's start with the heavyweights. Let's start with Tyson Fury, who fought recently, Wembley Stadium, 84,000. It was a sight to see, knocking out Dillian Whyte, who once was considered, or people compared his jab sometimes to something similar of Larry Holmes. But Tyson Fury got the win. What do you make of Tyson Fury? Because he's currently been talked about as someone who could compete in any era, Gerry.
You know, it's amazing, but he finds the way how to get the job done. He's been with Deontay Wilder. We saw him get dropped in the Garden against a cruiserweight, Stevie Cunningham. I thought, Wilder's got to catch him. He did, but you know, Jack Reese, the referee, told me when Jack Reese got to 5, Tyson Fury's eyes opened up. He jumped off the floor and walked Wilder down. That's the kind of gifts that he has, and he's talented. He fainted the Klitschko out of winning the title. He fainted him all night. That's how good he is. I hope he doesn't leave the game because he's got a magical personality and he can back it up. He doesn't look like, Adonis. He doesn't look like, Hercules, but he's fantastic ability. He's got those long, long arms. And, I thought about, I would get in and bang that body. You got to get to his body. There's no way. Dillian Whyte tried. He had a hard time. He had some success, but not enough. One of those times coming in, Tyson Fury caught him with that uppercut and put him to sleep. So listen, I really love Tyson Fury. I think he's a great guy for boxing, great personality. And I don't know if Usyk would beat him. I don't know if Joshua would beat him. I would love to see the fight. They got a new crowd of guys coming up. Jared Anderson. They got Joe Joyce. They got the guy that was here, Dubois was here. Daniel Dubois is a really good guy too. We were at the gym today. So we have a lot of guys. The divisions are coming back deep with talent. And we're going to be able to watch it firsthand. I'm a radio host, so I get to go to the fights and watch live. So anyway, I'm excited about the game. I love being here in London. Scott Murray is a great guy for boxing. Come and support him. He's helping guys, and he's showing people what fight game's about.
Do you have a fighter that you think stands out above the rest of the crop? Because it looks like in the direction that we're heading in, it's an undisputed fight knocking on the door very soon. Hopefully, as boxing fans, we want to see that. Tyson Fury is on the one side of the equation, Usyk and Joshua on the other side of the equation. First of all, do you think we'll see that fight? And if so, who do you think will be in that fight against Tyson Fury?
I got to tell you, I heard Tyson Fury say he's going to give it up. And for some reason, I looked at him when he said it, and it sounded for real. Now, that's hard when you're that age and there's all that money available to you. And we don't know where he is. His wife loves him. His wife wants him to give it up, that being on the road all the time. So, I don't know. I hope we do see the Joshua-Usyk fight. I hope we do see the winner fighting Fury. And I hope it's Joshua fighting Fury, because that's a great fight. That'll do way better than any other fight. And we need to have that fight. It's been one we waited for. Deontay Wilder's a great heavyweight out there still. He's got to get back in the picture.
Do you think he will?
I think he will. I think he's taken some time off, catch up with himself, and to maybe bring a different trainer in. We know he fought Tyson Fury the last time. He lost, but he fought a lot better. He got inside. He was getting inside Fury, and it was working. So, listen, there's a lot of options out there. Jared Anderson's a guy to look at. He's an American guy. Top Rank owns him. You got Daniel Dubois who's fighting in Florida in a couple of weeks. So there's a lot of great guys in that division that are going to come up, and we're going to see. Usyk is a beast too, if he can outbox you. They also have a couple of really good Cuban heavyweights that have a lot of great amateur pedigree and are very talented. They have great teachers over there in Cuba, and these guys are going to stand up and give some people some trouble.
There was talk a couple of years back, I think the pandemic unfortunately put paid to it, about an exhibition fight potentially between yourself and Larry. I just wanted to get your thoughts on Evander, who came back in what was an exhibition fight, or sort of fight, a cruiserweight. He came up to heavyweight, a great, but wasn't a good spectacle, I suppose, when we saw it in front of our eyes. What did you make of that?
When he fought the MMA guy, the UFC guy, well, yeah, I mean, obviously that guy jumped on him, And, Evander Holyfield's a little bit of a slow starter. And I'm sure that the commission said, keep a close eye. And if anything happens, we don't want Evander Holyfield to get hurt. And they stopped the fight too quickly. And I'm sure that every day Evander Holyfield gets up, he wishes that he would have been a little bit more warmed up and picked up the pace right away, because that guy didn't belong in the ring with him, in my opinion. And so, he moves forward, and Holyfield has to lick his wounds and go about life. It's over now. Holyfield is a guy that he's a warrior, and there's no more war. How does that guy find peace? There's so many guys who are like that we've seen through history, and this is one of those guys, and I hope he finds it, because you got to turn the page. Sometime we got to turn the page and get on with our lives.
That's a very important point, and that's something I wanted to ask you. It seems like you, sitting before me and Larry, are two fighters who did find that peace, and you can find the peace and still be involved in boxing in different ways, but fighters sometimes don't find that peace, and they fall, essentially. Can boxing do better to help? What is it about boxers that sometimes they just can't maybe let that go? Well,
unfortunately, history has proved that fighters are independent contractors. So obviously, no one is responsible for them. And what happens is the managers take care of the rent, they take care of the insurance, they take care of the problems, they get them the car, the whole thing. And then the fighter becomes 30, and he has no idea on how to manage his life. So he keeps fighting, and he keeps fighting. And the managers want him to. And then all the time that's going on, they're also developing the younger kid. So when it's time for him to go, they say so long, and he's left alone. He didn't save any money because he figures it's never going to end, as all athletes do. And now he's stuck by himself with a probably wife and a couple of kids and tons of problems. We have to address that somehow. We have to get a foundation, put $1 aside for every ticket that's sold for fights, and put it into a foundation so these guys can get schooled and find out where their strengths lie after boxing and let them move forward.
In this era of boxing, there seems to be a twist on what happened in the area where Muhammad Ali was in, yourself was in, you found yourself, where Ali did a bit of exhibitions and he fought the likes of Antonio Inoki and did that sort of thing. I think Inoki thought he was in a real fight and actually went for Ali at the time. But now we see this kind of hybrid going on where a lot of kind of celebrities, I suppose, infiltrate or maybe, look to kind of create a career in boxing. I wonder how you see it, this new wave of boxing that's... Is it boxing? Is it a side attraction to boxing? What do you see it as?
I think it was great during the pandemic. And, a couple of the kids did well, right? But when Jake Paul starts talking about fighting Mike Tyson, now you're walking into a scary area. And these guys need to know it's a show. And most of those guys that are in the MMA and UFC, they don't fare well in the boxing ring, just like boxers would not fare well in the cage. So obviously it's to their detriment. And obviously some of the guys are going to win. Some of the guys, like the guy who beat Holyfield, he's just a well-conditioned guy that wants to prove something in his life. You don't run into many of those guys. And boxing is a different animal. It's not like that MMA. You can't take him down to the ground. You're going to get popped on the nose. And it's a bigger struggle. So anyway, I think it was a novelty for the pandemic. We'll see some of it on big names like Ronda Rousey is doing WWF now. She crossed over. Some of those things will happen, but far and few between.
Two final things from me, Gerry. I'd be remiss if I didn't mention that Lennox Lewis said it would be easy work if you fought Tyson Fury in a fantasy fight. I wonder if you feel that same way.
Or you said that?
Yeah.
I believe that. I believe that Tyson Fury is a very tough guy, but Lennox Lewis has got this awkwardness about his ability and his determination. And he's a big guy, 6'7", 6'8". He would get in and I think find a way. I think. Still will be fun to watch. He hasn't fought in a while. And, I'm sure Tyson Fury has some tricks up his sleeve. That feinting he does is just phenomenal. I get set to punch, he feints, I got to set up again. I get ready to punch, he feints around, I got to set up again. The round's over. It goes so. You saw the Klitschko Fury fight. There was the least amount of punches thrown in a heavyweight fight because of Tyson Fury's feinting. So he's a phenomenal guy. I love him. I just wish he would... not retire and have a few more fights for us fans.
Final thing for me, Gerry. 40 years ago, yourself, Larry Holmes.
41 years ago.
41, my apologies. If there's a lesson to be learned from everything that you experienced from your career and specifically then the fight with Larry, what is it that you can impart to other fighters?
I can tell you this, right? When my career was over, I was friends with Larry Holmes. He said he never drank, never smoked, never took a drug his whole career. And when you delve into that world, it's a fantasy world. You think you can handle it. You can't. And time slips away too fast. And that's one of the things that got me. I started to drink, and everybody wanted to hang around with Gerry Cooney, and I got lost. And I didn't pay attention. And, you know, I've seen it in the past. I've seen it with other Jerry Quarries. I've seen it with other fighters. But you think, I'll handle it differently. But you don't. And that timing, that split-second timing of world-class and club fighter hits you. And then you got to work harder to bring it back. And then you don't have the desire because now you're drinking and partying and you felt that side of life. Don't do it. Make a commitment to fighting those years, whatever they are. Straight, clean, hard. Get a good teacher to teach you defense, and anybody can punch. Defense is the most important thing. Stay away from those bombs, and you'll live and you'll make a lot of money and enjoy your life.
That's a brilliant lesson. I said that was the final thing, sir, but where can people find you? If they want to hear from you more with Larry, where can they find you?
Well, I'm on Sirius XM every Monday, every Friday from 12 to 2. That's in New York. You can get it on Instagram, GerryCooney.com. And yeah, I'm in New York. I love fighting. I love talking the game. So yeah, anytime you want to get a hold of me, I'll give you my number. You can reach me sometime you want to talk. It's a great game. Pay attention. It's going fast.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for speaking to Boxer Social. A pleasure, Gerry. Thank you.